Hello and welcome to Connections Forum for Relationship Expression and Healing with a special edition. We are in episode 50 and the second edition is for 2015. And the title of our show today is Gods in Shackles, Animals in Distress and Need of Support with Sangita Iyer. In our show, we are offering conversations, interviews regarding the most important area in human life, such as relationship, personal expression, self-development, cultural development, as well as healing. The purpose of our show is to give you inspiration and also teach you new skills with which to handle issues which are connected with our topics. Before I introduce our special guest today, some information about your host. I am Margarita Crystal Lotus. I am an intuitive life and business mentor who helps professional women overcome emotional overwhelm and stress and restore their energy so they can have fulfilling relationship and watch their career flourish. To find out more about my services, please visit my website, thecrystallotus.com. And Heidi?
Yeah, my name is Heidi Hörnlein. I'm the co-host of Margarita for now a year. And I'm a transformational coach and a relationship counselor and a voice therapist. And I work with people who don't yet fully realized in their lives, and they want to find their authentic voice in the world, not only this voice, but also their expression and their way to be in the world. I'm also the founder of the cultural association Paradiso Integrale. This is a virtual space and a physical space here in Italy, where we welcome you as our guests. And we hold courses and retreats, and also there you are very welcome. There will be one retreat in April, so come out. Find out more about us in our website, thepowerofrelationship.com.
So before we enter the conversation, welcome again, everybody. And when you are joining us live, let us know that you are there, where you are from, and join in the discussion with us. If you are watching this replay, please don't hesitate to engage with us here as well. We will read and respond. And this is also true for our special guest today, Sangita Iyer. She is super passionate about elephants. She has made a film about elephants this summer called Gods in Shackles. We will talk about that later, and she strives for freeing them, that is the elephants, and from their often long change and heavy work and ill treatment. Sangita Iyer is a three-time international award winner, documentary filmmaker, and also an award-winning journalist. Sangita is originally from India and now lives in Canada. She has co-founded the Bermuda Environmental Alliance, BEA, a non-profit organization to educate the public of the nature of wildlife issues and to provide practical solutions aligned with Earth stewardship. She has, I am so excited to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit more about you, Sangita?
Yes, hi. It's wonderful to be with you, lovely women, and I'm really proud of the work that you are doing in, creating and providing this awesome platform for people that are trying to do good in the world, and so this is great. A little bit about me, you've already said a little bit about me, but the only thing I wanted to rectify is that the movie has not yet been made. The movie is under post-production. It's called Gods in Shackles. And the documentary that I'm currently working on, it lifts off the cultural veil to expose the exploitation of temple elephants in the name of culture and religion. And a little bit about me, I've been a broadcaster for the last 18 years, and I used to report on health and environment. And as the universal intelligence had other plans for me, I switched gears, and as you mentioned, I founded the organization called Bermuda Environmental Alliance. But now I'm working with the elephants. I feel they're my soul animals, and I've always felt a profound sense of connection with these absolutely majestic and intelligent animals. And I feel privileged to have been chosen by the universe as an instrument to do the work that I am doing right now.
This is wonderful. I mean, whenever I see an elephant or in the zoo or only the photos, it makes my heart, and I only knew from you how badly they are treated. And I think many people don't know that. So I think it's very, very, very important that you come out and heighten the awareness of people, how animals, and especially elephants in this case, are still treated in our world. So thank you very, very much.
I think it's my moral imperative. I feel I have a moral imperative to do this using my journalism and communication and production skills. I always believe that we have been given specific talents and skills, and all of us have unique gifts, and how we use it in order to bring forth peace and compassion and use our gifts in a manner that would be good for the greater good. And I feel privileged to have this opportunity to do that, yes.
So wonderful. So you said that the film, you shooted the material in summer, and now you are creating it. And this is also the reason why we are here. And we want to talk a little bit about this film. Why did you name it Gods in Shackles? I remember that before it was Gods in Chains.
Yeah, Gods in Shackles. Gods in Shackles, Gods in Chains, they mean this almost the same. The reason we chose shackles is because it's a more powerful word, and we have combined it, we've played with words, and we have done God, sin, shackles, and we have combined the gods in together, so it becomes you're sinning by shackling God. And shackles is like they are shackled. What are shackles? Shackles are handcuffs that don't allow you that just confine you. And that's what these elephants are subjected to do. And the reason that I used gods in shackles is because in India, elephants are considered to be the embodiment of Lord Ganesh, who's one of the most beloved and revered god in the Hindu culture. And on the one hand, they have this, amazing connection with these elephants that they absolutely love and admire. So much so that, they say, you're killing me with kindness, you're killing me with love. They love this animal so much that they are oblivious to the pain and suffering of this animal. At the end of the day, an elephant is a huge animal, and it cannot be domesticated as some people think it can. It cannot be like your average cat and dog. I mean, compare the difference in size itself and the weight. And if something happens, then this poor elephant is the one that is blamed. And so what I'm trying to say is, on the one hand, you're worshiping this Lord Ganesh, and on the other hand, you're abusing the same elephant, to perform cultural rituals and during festivals, because in order to tether an animal that is so huge, you have to really enforce a lot of pain you have to inflict. It's almost like you have no choice but to constrain it and to sort of not allow it to go wild or run amok. You have to have all these shackles, otherwise it's a wild animal. It will do what it is designed to do, which is wander away. But in order to control it, they have to inflict so much pain and suffering. So my question is it necessary to use these wild animals that can never be tamed or domesticated? Why do you have to use such an animal in the name of culture and religion, but in the end, you're actually exploiting the animal for commerce? because when you really consider the significant amount of profit that these festival organizers make, all of these things are going to be revealed in my documentary, because I have interviewed about 30 experts, including wildlife conservationists, even elephant owners and handlers, as well as elephant veterinarians, and they are all saying one thing, especially the scientists and the veterinarians, that elephants cannot become pet, they cannot be domesticated. And on the other hand, I did interview the owners and I asked them what kind of revenue do they generate. For instance, if they ended up making, say, approximately, 40 or 50,000, 50, I would say 50 lakh, which is, a lakh has got like about 5 zeros, so 50 lakhs, that's in the Indian currency, rupees that is, 50 lakh rupees. They end up spending only 18 lakhs on the elephants, and they get to keep the balance 22 lakhs. That's how much money they make when you really calculate. And that's a lot of money, you know? And so they're abusing the animal in the name of culture and religion, and the masses are so mesmerized by this animal that they don't even comprehend. They're oblivious to the pain and suffering of this animal. Meanwhile, you have this select group of clever craftsmen who are using culture and religion for profit, and that is what I'm exposing. I'm exposing the, corruption, the cultural, the religious, the commercial, and the political corruption. And I'm really fortunate because all of the people that I interviewed have opened up to me, and they've actually risked their lives in sharing some of the things that they know. Additionally, when, like you mentioned, Heidi, in May, myself and my cinematographer, we went to India and we filmed this massive festival called Trishul Puram, in which more than 100 male elephants are tethered so close to each other, and they're not designed to be kept so close. All four legs shackled, helpless. They cannot move. And on top of that, these shackles are so tight that even if they try to move a little bit, it just hurts them so much. And then you have the handlers who have bull hooks and long poles and short poles constantly poking at them, poking at them, poking at them, so they behave. And there's just so much fear instilled in the minds of these poor, amazingly intelligent animals. They're made to stand on their feces and urine, and it's just really sad in the most unhygienic conditions that they are maintained. Is that what you would do to a god that you worship? That is what I'm trying to bring bring to awareness, heightened awareness, to expose these atrocities against the elephants, so the public really knows that just in order to entertain you, these poor elephants are subjected to enormous pain and suffering.
Wow. Wow. I started to cry when you talked about that. I'm sorry to butt in here, Heidi, but I'm thinking about my cat. Uh, and I could imagine, because he goes back and forth in my house, can do whatever he wants, and he's so loving. And I try to make him feel free to do that. But having an elephant, can one do that with an elephant?
So I did that with an elephant, and that's the fun thing, and that's what I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunity to really connect with a very special elephant. Actually, there are 5 elephants that are starring in my movie, and of the 5 elephants, 4 of them are males and 1 of them is a female. The reason I chose 4 males is because these males are the ones that are subjected to the most atrocious conditions, because in Kerala, which is a southern state in India where this Trishul Puram takes place, all the elephants that are used in this festivity are male elephants. And the sad part about using the male elephants is that they are solitary, independent, dominant, amazing animals, and when they're in the wild, they just wander 16 to 18 hours of the day. They get to graze and browse on more than 200 different varieties of food. And during the worst situation for the male elephants that they're subjected to is this unique period in their annual cycle called the must, that is MUSTH. During that time, what happens is they secrete 100% more than normal testosterons, and they have high energy levels. They've got a lot of pent up energy that they release when they're in the wild, whereas when they're tethered, they get so frustrated, and they also wander around, find a female to mate, and their sexual drive is at its peak. Whereas when they're tethered, 4 months out of the year, anywhere between 3 to 4 months, this must period lasts for like that long. They are tethered 24/7, and they're made to stand on their, because during their must they also dribble urine constantly. They stand on the urine, they they release their waste, and they discharge and everything. None of that is being cleaned, because it's they're in their very dominant mode, and so they're kept in these unhygienic conditions, which is causing deadly diseases like tuberculosis. And Asian elephants are dying at such an unprecedented rate. These are endangered animals, according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, has deemed it an endangered animal, and it's the same animal that they capture from the wild and they bring it. So to answer your question, these animals in captivity, they will accept any love that you give them. And so even these elephants, when they were during their must, when people were telling me, oh, you can't go near them, they're very vicious, I'm like, no, they're not going to do anything to me. I would take pineapples and bananas and fruits and just put it on their trunk, and they would take it. They were not as scary as people make out of them. And this another beautiful gal, her name is Lakshmi, she's the only star in my film. She just showered me with so much unconditional love. It's like, the first time I met her, I saw her from a distance.
We are
And we kind of it was at the end of the day, it's like, if you respect and you love these animals, they have no choice but to shower you back with 100% more love. And so yeah, they're very loving, and they feel your love, they feel your energy, because they're intuitive, highly intelligent. That's why they're called gentle giants, because they are so gentle.
Oh, Sangita, I can really relate to what you are saying. I mean, animals are emotional beings, and and the more they are even intelligent, the more they are almost like us.
Yeah.
They have the same reactions and the same. And I really admire your project, because you are not only going against the ignorance of people who have not yet understood that animals are emotional beings, that they have a soul and they deserve a good treatment, but you have also to go against financial interests, people who are not caring about the animals, but who are caring about money. So this is a very, 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 very big task, and I really wish you all the best. And I wonder, I'm sure people who listen to you, they are interested in what they can do to, to help you in that, because it's not a thing you can do alone.
Not at all. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. And even for us to get to this point, Heidi, it's people like you. When I launched the pre-production campaign, you contributed, towards our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. So what I'm doing is I have launched this crowdfunding campaign. The reason that I chose to do a crowdfunding campaign is because, when people fund it collectively, what happens is essentially you are allowing the people that are interested in the welfare of the elephants to participate. Whereas if you go to a sponsor who is opposed to what we are doing, so we don't have to rely on them, whereas we can rely on the masses that are interested in the welfare, genuine welfare of the elephants. And so that is why my post-production campaign was really successful. We had set a goal of about 40,000. We surpassed that goal because of people like you, Heidi, and I am just immensely grateful for your support. Now we have launched a post-production campaign. We need to raise $30,000. We have raised approximately 13,000, that is 13,000, and we have 16,000 more to go, and we are left with only about 22 days. So we still have a long way to go. We have a lot more money to raise, and so anything people can contribute by way of even $5, $10, $15, anything you can afford. It's not a matter of $100 or $200 because this is a numbers game, and so the more the people that contribute, the better it is for the for the campaign, and it's better even for the awareness, for creating awareness, because the more the people that come into our campaign site, they look at it and they say, wow, these are the things that the elephants are being subjected to. They get a lot of details, and then they feel part of this grander global movement, because aside from creating the documentary itself, that is just the tip of the iceberg. What we're also going to do is take this documentary, and we are going to then be touring the schools across Kerala, and then Kerala is a state where we're going to start out, because that is the ground zero, so to speak, of elephant torture. So we're going to tour the schools in Kerala and then take it afar and tour the states across India, and then have a global outreach program also. But over and beyond that, we are working together with some of the other stakeholders, key stakeholders, to create a sanctuary where these elephants can be released, and we can then open it up to the public so people from around the world can come and touch and feel and enjoy and give manicure and pedicure to these elephants, because their feet, their forelegs and rear legs are so important because it carries their whole body weight. That needs to be nurtured. You can feed, and so this is just the very, 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 we have just scratched the scratch of the surface. We still have a long way to go, and any help that people can offer would be so much appreciated. Over and beyond that, to share the message on Facebook, on Twitter, sending out emails to your friends and just saying, hey, please support this campaign if you're inspired to do so. We need any help that can be afforded.
Yeah, it comes to my mind, I saw on YouTube some time ago a video where two elephants who were separated, I think for 25 or 30 years, found each other in a shelter, and they recognized each other, and it was so heartbreaking. And I imagine that you are going to do that for these elephants, that they have a place where they can live almost like in nature, at least free, without all the time the chains. Imagine, yeah. You have all the time this around you everywhere. This only, we can imagine if somebody did that to us, how life would be.
Exactly.
And we cannot say, oh, these are animals. No, these are living beings like us, with the same right and the same to live, and the same joy to live, and the same impulse to, to date. Yeah, to everything, like we. So
their basic rights are deprived, and so you really raised a good point, because how as humans, I love the way you created the analogy. How would you feel if somebody did that to you? People cannot even comprehend that, because they look at animals as they are some inferior creatures. But at the end of the day, when you really consider the elephants, they are intelligent. In fact, their brain is 5 times larger than ours, and their cerebral cortical brain, which is the brain for cognition, awareness, is that much highly evolved, and that is why they are so gentle. But over and beyond that, you talk about the basic necessities of life, they are deprived of the wide, diverse variety of food that they get in the forest, because they have about 200 wide variety and more. They feed on the roots, the barks, the tree barks, the leaves, and shrubs, and herbs, and grass, and soil mineral. They bathe in the mud. They go and they soak themselves in the river when it's so hot, because as you know, India is mostly very hot and temperate climate. And in Kerala in particular, they are deprived of that basic right. They get fed only 1 or 2 different kinds of food. They're deprived of their food. They're not given water adequately and in proper time. They're deprived of their basic necessity to mate and socialize. These are highly social animals. Can you imagine you being tethered, being fed only 1 or 2 hamburger day and night, just and not enough water, and not bathe they bathe every single day. And you know what they do is they also soak themselves, and they bathe in the mud, they roll in the mud, because what happens is the mud then kicks on their body, and when the mud peels off, all of the parasites stuck on their body also are released. So they have their own way of cleansing themselves physically and emotionally and psychologically and spiritually. They are so pure. I cannot think of a better word. They are so, so, so pure.
So, Sangita, what I feel that you are doing is you are trying to raise consciousness, bringing people in higher levels of consciousness, because the awareness that animals are beings who deserve attention and have their rights, it is quite a high state of development. We would call it the green state of development in integral language, let's say.
Right.
We are doing the wisdom factory, which is promoting a little bit the integral worldview. And we know from there that through the stages of development, what is important to people changes.
Yes.
So for people to be able to see animals not as a thing which
Exactly.
we can use or abuse, they need really in their personal development to grow up the stages, and you will help them. I fear that in India, in these places, the people are several levels below, so they won't really understand, but at least a little bit they might. And I'm also wondering, do you do that in Indian languages, or can we see that too then, the film?
So the way this film is going to work, I mean, obviously that's one of the reasons. See, language is one thing, but the pictures speak 1,000 words. We've got the videos to show what is being done with them. We've got the videos. We've got some real undercover, investigative, exclusive videos that the public would not ever have access to. And so that's the kind of footage they see. I don't have to say a word. You just look at the video and you know exactly what's happening with the elephant. So that kind of, to a certain extent, eliminates the language barriers. But I do intend to also translate it into, I speak a couple of Indian languages, but not really that well. I can get by conversing with people, but not necessarily in terms of, narrating a film. So perhaps it could be translated into the local native language, because there are approximately 25 to 26 languages spoken just in India. And so in order to translate them, we have 3 basic languages that we intend to translate, which is we're going to focus on the directions. So in the northern parts of India, they speak one common language, southern part, and so we're going to use a common language, so at least have it translated into 4 different languages. Hindi is the mother tongue, so definitely Hindi. And in this particular place, Kerala, they speak Malayalam. And so essentially at least those two languages to begin with, and then we'll consider other translations also. And the thing is, it's not just in India. In places like Thailand and Burma and all these other places, also they use elephants in temple rituals. And it's exactly the same kind of, in Sri Lanka, same kind of torture and neglect and abuse that these poor animals have to endure. And so they can actually use this video, this movie, anywhere, any part of the world, you know.
So these are all the costs of the post-production which appear to really get the film then out to the people who I mean, a part of us who like to see that for certain reasons. But what your purpose is an education of the people in the place, as I understood.
Yeah.
So we need.
And so, yeah, no, I was just going to say, you really raise another good point, and that is the post-production, what it entails. So essentially now we are actually completing. So we gathered about 400 hours of footage, okay? We have just now completed viewing the 400 hours, and this is not just viewing, but viewing and making shot list. Each shot, what does that contain? So can you imagine, I had 2 interns helping me with that, and they, you know, they get points for doing that for their graduation. So that was a nice little sort of compensation I could give them. And then we have an amazing award-winning script writer. Him and I, we have just completed viewing it together. So I have to view it with 2 or 3 different key people to explain to them the cultural connections and the key focus of the story itself. We are just in the process of creating the storyline, and as of this weekend I'm going to then sit with a video editor, and then we're going to screen everything, screen the 400 hours of footage, and during that screening we will be pulling out key shots and setting them aside, and then we will finish the scripting of the whole process. I'm working with the editor, the script writer. We'll script with the script editor and writer. I'll work with the video editor, and then the 2 will be combined together, and that's how it's a lot of work. It's so well worth it, of course, but that is where all of the funds, and then like you said, the translation into different languages, and over and above that, you know, promotions, because without promoting we cannot create awareness. We're going to need money for that, and then traveling around we're going to need money, and sharing it with schools and creating like a group of people or a team of people to sort of disseminate this information. All of that incurs a lot of cost, you know, and so at the end of the day, it's like every penny dedicated to this is completely used for the production. And so anything people can do to assist would be really appreciated.
Can I ask you a question there, Sangita? It appears to me that you're talking about abuse of elephants. But on a cultural level, there is other kinds of abuses in the country of India, which we have heard about. And if you start with the elephants, maybe the abuse of women, children, and people who doesn't have income, or any kind of abuse in that society. I mean, there is abuses in every society, but particularly the abuse of women and killing and raping and all of that horrible, horrible stuff will, I mean, this brings it to a point, and you've selected a great topic about elephants to actually reveal and address far more deeper problem in your society. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the great thing I'm so glad you brought up the women abuse, because, you know, one of the things that inspired me to produce this film, and I see complete parallel realities between what's happening with the elephants and what's happening with women. And even my own life experience, I mean, I was raised in a very confined manner. I was raised in a high caste Brahmin family, and, you know, I was not allowed to do what I wanted to do, and everything was like filled with restrictions, and you know, I was supposed to be a certain way, I was supposed to act a certain way, and you know, I went through a very difficult childhood overall. It was sort of like, you know, and they condone the abuse because they say, well, I'm doing it for your good, and it's condoned. And you talk about rape and such. The thing is, the male dominance in India is just in your face. And it is indeed a male dominant society. And to be very honest with you, I personally feel that the male dominance, you talk about the male and the masculine and feminine energies, then we move into a totally different arena, because masculine and feminine energies around the world, the feminine energies are very much suppressed. And so when you consider that, and when you take it to the microcosm of India, it is indeed physically visible, because you're seeing that men are everywhere. Even in the festivities, the images that you'll see, mostly men are the ones that are partying and dancing. They have chosen male elephants. I mean, all that, there's relevance to everything that I've used in the image. And in a way, the cultural shackles that are confining the elephants are the same shackles that are confining women, and that are thwarting and preventing the progress of such an incredibly so-called spiritual nation. People from around the world, they go to India because they consider it to be a highly spiritual country. And I agree with that. There, you know, we have the Hindu Bhagavad Gita wisdom, and we have so many amazing sages and saints. I honor them, and I honor and respect the culture, the religion, absolutely. And I have embraced Bhagavad Gita wholeheartedly. Nowhere in the scriptures does it say you have to use animals, you have to use elephants in these rituals. Who created all these things? Where did it all come from? When you really trace back and, you know, detect where it came from, it all evolved out of an idea. There was a king in Kerala who said, okay, well, you belong to low caste and you cannot come into the temple, so what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to carry the deity on the tallest elephant. At the time, they didn't have trucks and vehicles that we have right now. You know, so I'll mount it on the elephant and I'll tour it around, and you'll get to see the deity. During those days, the elephants were really well kept. They were treated as, you know, gods, and revered so much more. And you know, nobody was even charging money to give out the elephants. There's one elephant. From there, we have like 700 elephants for festivities. Who created that? It's a male-dominant society which is into commerce and which is so much into profit. And in the name of culture and religion, they abuse the elephants, they abuse the animals, they abuse women, and they suppress the most amazing innate potential of all of these incredible sentient beings. And they deprive them of their basic rights to be who they are, basic rights to food, water, clothing, shelter. It's unbelievable. You should see some of them are just in the scorching daylight, no shelter to even protect them.
Sangita, for me, you are really describing the progression of human development, you know, and the being highly developed in a spiritual sense has nothing to do of being, for instance, highly developed in the personal sense. You know, personal development is a completely different thing than spiritual development. And so far, we thought when we are spiritually highly developed, everything is all right, but it's not. And what you are describing of India is so true for many, let's say, third world countries who have not yet done the jump in higher levels of development. They try now to go into the money system, which we call in our language orange. This is the I don't know the word now. Anyway, it's the fifth stage of development where we try to find out what we can do. But we have not yet, in this stage of development, we have not yet developed the awareness of who we really are in the sense of sentient beings, really sentient beings, and the animals. You know, we cannot yet have not yet developed real compassion. The compassion we have when we sit and meditate, you know, in lower states of development, but not in real life. Yeah. So I only want to say it's not only a problem of India. When you were in Europe or you are in Canada now, when you were here 200 years ago, and even less, animals were treated in this way. Even, I mean, in the country, when I came here, and even now, I see the dogs outside in a little cage of 2 square meters, and have no real shelter in the winters. That, you know, so this is really a question of growing up as humans,
Exactly.
as people.
And yeah, that is another great point you raised. Even in North America, you see elephants used in circuses. And, you know, in order to get such an enormously huge animal do something, you have to discipline it. And in order to discipline it, you have to inflict pain and suffering. It's like, why use these, you know, highly intelligent animals to do such a menial job?
Yeah,
It's,
you
it's
know,
beyond me. And one thing I wanted to mention is, even you talked about spirituality in India. It's a lot to do with also sort of religious, cultural, blind beliefs more than spirituality. There's this borderline where, you know, you have certain religious practices and rituals that they follow blindly without understanding the deeper meaning of it. And when you understand the deeper meaning, that is spirituality. When you're just performing the rituals, that's very religious. So there's that difference between religious and spirituality. And you can, in terms of personal growth, I completely agree with you. And that personal growth to me is also directly linked with connecting with your own inner spirit. And that is, to me, spirituality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I wanted to say, you said, why do we do that to elephants to be in a circus? Why do we do it to humans?
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. Well, the thing with humans is if they want to, they have a free will. The great thing about humans is they have a free will. And if they don't want to participate in circuses, they don't have to. If they don't want to do something, they don't. We live in a democratic world, except in certain countries like China, for example, which is the world's most populous country on the planet. And when you consider China, there again, they are poaching elephants at an unprecedented rate, African elephants. That is yet another story to cover. So I'm not going to bring that in, but it's just they're decimating the whole planet. They're raping our Mother Earth. They're killing and destroying and decimating all of the creatures. 100 million sharks per year. That's what they're harvesting from the global commons. These oceans belong to all of us, and they're harvesting 100 million sharks just for the shark fin soup. They, you know, chop off the fins and they dump the majestic, magnificent animal back into the ocean for it to rot. I mean, what's going on? You know, it's really time for humans to take a look and say, come on, guys, let's evolve consciously, you know?
Absolutely. And I think you will do a very big contribution to that.
Oh, I hope
Really
so.
thank you for that, because we need people who step up and are passionate about it and really do it. Do something so that the awareness can be raised.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Sangita, will you write down in the event page where people can contribute?
Sure. You want me to do that now, or?
You can do it afterwards, and I will also then publish it in our website, and wherever you publish something, ping us and we will share it, and always have the URL of the Indiegogo campaign. Have it always ready so that, you know, it is there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. No, I'll do exactly that soon after our conversation. And yeah, it's been wonderful chatting with you, and I appreciate the time that we spent together and the opportunity to create this, you know, awareness of a very important cause. I hope people come and support us. I invite people to, you know, check out www.indiegogo. Let me say this: www.indiegogo.com/projects/gods in shackles. So indiegogo.com/projects/gods in shackles. And help us out. That would be amazing. I'd greatly appreciate it.
So we're coming to the end of the show right now, and Heidi, maybe you can summarize what's the takeaways.
The takeaway for me personally is that the story which Sangita is telling about the elephants is the story about humanity and the necessity in really raising consciousness for to create a world where every being has its right to live in a good way. Yeah. And in some way ties into what we did yesterday in the Wisdom Factory show, the thrivability, to come into thrivability for everybody. Yeah. And we need to create it.
Absolutely. And one last thing I want to mention is when people contribute, they get amazing perks. So we are giving them amazing memorabilias and t-shirts and stuff that they can actually get. So, you know, it's something they can cherish for the rest of their lives. So for every single contribution, there's something we are giving as our gift of gratitude that they can cherish.
Can you show us your t-shirt?
Yes, I can. This, well, yeah, here it is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I love my elephant. Yeah. I live and breathe them. Yeah,
so, okay, so thank you for coming, Sangita. And Heidi, what are we doing next week?
Next week is your turn. You have invited. So I'm not really sure.
Okay. I think we have Michelle coming back to show us some tips and tricks of how to work in business, and we've had her before, so join us next week and at the same time.
Wonderful.
Anything else anyone wants to say?
What is your takeaway?
My takeaway is that similar to yours, and that is that I was thinking about, like we're talking about elephant in India, it's all about the people's mindset. Mm-hmm. Wherever abuse is going on, mm-hmm. It's the mindset of the people that needs to change, and they are shackling themselves.
Absolutely.
They don't know it, but they're shackling themselves. And that's, I think, my takeaway and confirming that idea.
I just want to leave with a small quote from Mahatma Gandhi, who is considered to be the father of India. He said, "The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated." Now, this comes from, global leader who was born and raised in a humble family in Gujarat, in Porbandar, and he says that the nation's progress is determined by the way they treat their animals. So,
very true. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So we wish you all the best, that you get all the money you need, and we hope we can contribute in some way to spread the word and reach people.
Thank you very much. Thanks for this opportunity. Have a good one. Bye-bye.